Hey, everybody, welcome back to the second episode here at Top Rope Talk Podcast. You are here with your hosts, as always, the hooker and the heel.
What a weekend. Am I right, Josh?
Holy shit. It was fantastic. Better, honestly, than I could have hoped or thought or dreamed.
Same.
The WWE, and we've talked about this, how they've had a habit, or they've made a habit of completely failing to meet expectations for what the Royal Rumble should be for the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they completely blew me away this weekend.
Yeah, and I mean, not only the Royal Rumble, but NXT Worlds Collide was absolutely insane. Those matches, just being able to watch the energy that was coming from those wrestlers was absolutely incredible. And for once, I've got to say, Royal Rumble was actually better than the NXT event. And that, I feel like that has never happened.
I was actually thinking about that today. Ever since NXT started doing takeovers, they have always performed better and had a better show than the main roster shows.
Absolutely.
This is the first weekend where the main roster was like, no, we are still the dominant force here. And I was like, fuck, hats off to you, because that was phenomenal. That was great.
Absolutely. I honestly can say that, I mean, there were very few moments in the Royal Rumble where I was disappointed. I mean, all of the matches were absolutely fantastic, except for one, in my personal opinion.
You're not wrong, though.
I mean, it just...
We're talking about Becky Lynch and Asuka, right? That was terrible.
Really?
I'm kidding.
Oh, I was like, that one was actually pretty good. I would say. No, I mean, Bayley versus Lacey Evans, that just was catastrophic. I was really disappointed. I mean,
so I've decided that Bayley, her whole heel character.
Mm-hmm.
So I was talking to my brother, the one who I mentioned last week, who's going to wrestling school right now.
Right.
Her, whether she's a heel or a face, I just don't care about her, because there's something that she's lacking as a performer that makes me really invest in her as a wrestler.
I could see that, definitely.
And when she came out, now that she's a heel and she comes out and she's got that mean face, ooh, I got a heel face on. She just reminds me of my 4-year-old daughter when she's throwing a tantrum. I just don't buy it.
She's Karen, the manager that always comes to complain at every retail store. She's the soccer mom. She is just she's not a good character, period. I'm not a fan of Bayley. I've never been a fan of her. I mean, she's got pretty decent skill wrestling. I don't think she's that great, where I know a lot of people really compliment her on her wrestling, but I'm just not a fan. I've never been a fan. And I even tried to like her as a heel because I'm all for the heels, but it just doesn't sell for me at all. And then, I mean, Lacey Evans, she is just not ready. She really wasn't ready for that match, and it definitely showed. There were multiple times where you're just like, what are you guys doing? And then adding in the fact that her daughter and her husband were at ringside, that's really cute and all, but it just wasn't working last night at all.
And on top of that, I feel like her Southern Belle character doesn't go over well as a face, at all.
No, I definitely see that. And especially with everything going on politically, I don't think it's really a great move to implement that into wrestling. We're trying to enjoy the entertainment aspect and not really focus on political stuff when we're watching these events. And so it just wasn't really a big sell for me. I was expecting to like that match more than Baron versus Reigns, but I actually really kind of enjoyed that match. I mean, I'm not a fan of Reigns. He's horrible, but overall that match was actually pretty decent.
I have so my thoughts towards Reigns are very complex, and we'll get into it in another episode. I definitely think he deserves his own episode, or at least a part of an episode.
You'll be doing that episode on your own then, because no,
well, not to praise him, nothing like that. He's just it's one of the big flaws, I think, of Vince and the way he runs the business.
Definitely. I think any wrestling fan can agree to that.
And I don't want to get too lost in the weeds on the Roman Reigns issue, because this is not about him tonight, as we will find out. But yeah, no, I thought that was a really good opening match. The crowd was into it. What works for Roman is when they put him against a physical heel that the audience actually despises.
True.
And people hate Baron Corbin, which is fair because his character...
Make sure you include his royalty. Come on.
Oh, I'm so sorry. King Baron. That's right. And don't get me wrong. I enjoy King Baron. I think his character is really good. His in-ring talents are just, they keep getting better, and he's a really good worker. And on top of that, he's got this character that people just naturally can't stand, and he plays to it with like that smug smarminess. So I'm a fan of the way King Baron plays to his strengths. And I just thought that match was top to bottom really good.
Absolutely. Especially for an opener. I definitely was expecting a little less energy, I guess, from them. But they actually really threw everything in. And even with Rude and Ziggler and the Usos coming out, and then just all the interaction, the only thing that I felt kind of bad for, and it's expected with a Falls Count Anywhere match, they were in the ring maybe about 5 minutes, if that, not even probably. And I feel bad for the people that are there at the arena trying to watch from their seats and everything and not being able to see what's going on. I always get cringy about that, just because it's you pay all this money to see all of the matches, and then to have something be completely out and away it kind of sucks. So
yeah, no, you're not wrong, but it also I think obviously it plays well because they have to take into the fact that it's not just the people at the arena, it's
everywhere,
the millions watching at home.
Yeah. Well, enough talk about Roman Reigns and his nonsense. Let's get down to the real exciting parts from Royal Rumble. We'll get to the actual Royal Rumbles here in a minute, but one match that I just, honestly, it was probably my favorite aside from the men's Royal Rumble, was The Fiend versus Daniel Bryan.
That was such a good match, and I'm so thankful that they didn't have that red light on The Fiend.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm so thankful they didn't have the red light, and it was that match. There were so many close calls, and when Bryan hit the label lock with the strap, I was like, oh my God, they might actually take it from Bray right now.
I went into the match thinking that they were, and the entire time I was on the edge of my seat just waiting for it. And the fact that he won, I lost it. I was so excited and so happy. I wasn't really sold on this whole Fiend aspect. I really missed the original Bray Wyatt, and now seeing that match, I'm sold 100%. I am in it. I am a huge fan now of The Fiend. I don't really know why I couldn't grasp it really before. It just wasn't working for me. But last night they went above and beyond with the strap, and the marks on Daniel Bryan afterwards were just insane. I can only imagine how painful the rest of the night was for him, just even to have the referees touching him while they were trying to help him, just touching exactly where those marks are, and you're ugh.
He got beat so bad with this strap, and the whole time, because every time I see him wrestle now, I'm like, oh my God, watch your head. You can't afford another concussion. You sneeze and you get a concussion.
Right.
Be careful, Daniel Bryan. And then now I'm just oh my God, stay away from leather straps. That is, I was flinching during the match because Bray was laying into him so hard with them. And then when Daniel got the straps, he was laying into the Fiend so hard. It was, they both gave as good as they got. It was incredible to watch.
Yeah.
And to touch on your point about the Fiend, when he first came back and had the Firefly Funhouse, I was all in for the Firefly Funhouse. I was like, this is dark and twisted and like, oh, I want to see where it goes. But then when he first debuted with the Fiend mask, I was like, oh man, this is gimmicky as hell. I don't know how well this is gonna fly. But a couple matches in, I was like, okay, I'm into it. Like, I love the new lantern that's like a decapitated head.
Right, it's his head decapitated.
Yeah,
Actually, really awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. And then the custom belt that was made by, was it Tom Savini?
Yes.
You can't help but really love what he's doing right now. And in the last episode, I had stated that Roman Reigns was going to win this Rumble to set up the Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt Fiend match at WrestleMania.
You did.
So I was confident that Bray Wyatt was going to win this match, but there were some moments where I was like, oh my God, I was wrong. The Fiend is about to lose to Daniel. He ate 2 running knees. He got the LeBell Lock locked on. But what really impressed me about Bray, or the Fiend, or however you want to look at that, is when he did his Hulk up moment at the end of the match, and Daniel Bryan laid into him with a strap like 3 times, so hard across the chest.
Right.
And he didn't flinch at all. I was flinching, Anya. I was at home, nowhere near that strap, and I was flinching as Daniel Bryan slapped him across the chest with that leather strap, and he didn't react at all. And I was like, this. No.
That reminded me of Roddy Piper's chain match with Greg Valentine way back when. Just like the aspect of being chained to somebody and using that as a weapon against them. Valentine took off part of Roddy's ear during that match. And so like just that like level of just pure angst and anger and taking it out on the other person. I was definitely on the edge of my seat and just in pain for them both. It was crazy.
No, you're absolutely right. That was insane, but it was a great match. They delivered. They over-delivered.
Absolutely. So what did you think about the Women's Royal Rumble?
Overall, I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed it. There were some eliminations I was kind of like griping about.
Definitely.
But overall, I thought it was really good. I think, to be honest, the final 4 should have been Flair, Baszler, Bliss, and Belair.
Yeah.
I think that should have been the final 4. I
don't know. I think you could really take out Belair and put in Santina.
My God. Okay, so that portion of the match has so many people divided right now. Some people loved it because it was funny. Some people felt like it was a waste of time and it took away time from like a female performer who could have used that bit of time in the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a funny bit, but they didn't need to use it. Like, I think what they could have done is maybe have him come out as Santina, but before he gets into the ring, like somebody else's music hits.
I don't know. I just don't like that idea at all. Actually, I think it was a funny bit. Yes, like it or not, the Royal Rumble has its funny bits, and they typically work. I mean, especially for this, I just feel like as I was watching it, I was kind of getting bored, honestly, towards the end. But one of the things that I was a little, I guess, more so worried than anything was Beth Phoenix with the blood like dripping down the back of her head from the laceration. That was insane. Yeah, that was
like pretty much the entire time she was in the ring, she was like bleeding from her skull. That was crazy.
Right. And it's funny because I didn't realize it. I remember specifically her head hitting the turnbuckle or the back of it. And I remember hearing the sound that it made. And I was just like, did that really just happen? And it was like, okay, nothing to worry about. And then all of a sudden you just see all this blood like everywhere. And I don't know, I felt like the Santina bit and just her interacting with it kind of gave the overall, I'm okay. This isn't as serious as it looks. I'm still functioning and I'm good. So again, it was a nice little break, I guess, from that worry.
Don't get me wrong. I thought it was a funny bit,
Mm-hmm.
I just think that somebody like Rhea Ripley could have benefited from taking a spot in the Rumble, especially because they're trying to make her this huge star on NXT right now.
I guess. I just
Yeah,
they had
I
so
don't, I don't,
many.
I don't inherently have anything like see anything wrong with what they did.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that there were other ways they could have gone with it. Either way, I mean, I'm not lying. I'm not going to lie and say I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was funny and I did enjoy it.
Right.
I'm just coming from the angle that, like, they probably could have used that a different way, but it's in the
Yeah.
past. It was an enjoyable Rumble. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of Flair, so seeing her take another giant notch on her post
Mm-hmm.
kind of bothers me, but it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, you mentioned it already a little bit. How was Asuka versus Becky for you?
It was almost as good as Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt.
You think? I don't think it was that good.
I thought it was really good.
I mean,
I
I agree that it was good. I definitely thought they both went all in. One of the things I just didn't really understand afterwards, especially with Becky Lynch trying to be all badass and I'm the man, blah, 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 I'm a cocky little thing. I don't really understand why she was like tearing up afterwards and about to cry in the middle of the ring as she looked at Asuka. Like, obviously, Asuka is a beast. She brings her game anytime she's in the ring. So, of course, it was going to be a tough match, but
I feel like the main roster has done Asuka wrong since the beginning, to be perfectly honest.
Really?
When they had, like, so she won the Women's Royal Rumble. I thought that was great. And then the way she lost to Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, I thought was just dirty.
Yes, it was.
And then just she's done, like, she's paired up with Kairi Sane as a Kabuki warrior with the tag belts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just feel like somebody of Asuka's caliber deserves a little bit better. But the way they played off of each other, the storyline of Becky, who's never been able to beat Asuka, like overcoming all of that, I thought it was a compelling match, and it played out perfectly to the very end.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't think it was better than Bryan and the Fiend, but it was, I feel like, a relatively close second.
Definitely, it was definitely up there. I mean, I feel like the men's Rumble takes it, obviously.
Yeah, but before we jump into the men's Rumble, and there's a lot to go over there.
Oh man,
so much. Let's quickly talk about Rumbles of the past. Some of our favorite Rumble moments, or Rumble, overall Royal Rumble, favorites that we've had.
Yeah, let's go into that. You go ahead. Go with your what would you say is your favorite moment out of all the Rumbles? What is it?
My absolute favorite out of all the Royal Rumbles was Royal Rumble 2010. This is the one. Do you know what I'm talking about already?
Yep.
This is the one where Edge was supposed to be gone for like 16 or 18 months with a neck injury.
Mm-hmm.
And he came back in like 8.5 months. So literally none of the fans were aware of what was coming. Maybe, and again, this is before wrestlers were really big on social media like they are today, right, where it was a little bit more secretive. So nobody knew that he was coming out. And then all of a sudden, number 29, his music hits. The crowd pops like you wouldn't believe. He comes in and he fucking wins the Rumble. And that,
it definitely was a good one. I've been rewatching all of the Royal Rumbles. I've just started from like the beginning and I just kept watching. And that is definitely one of the moments that stands out. I think whenever I hear his music, it doesn't matter if he's coming back or just entering for another match on the week. I just always lose it for his music and when he comes out, and it's just always really exciting. But that moment was definitely one of those kind of unbelievable, like, you didn't really know if he was going to be able to come back. And then to see him actually there again, it was definitely a tearjerker moment for me. So I get it.
Yeah, that was, and then, like a year later, he wound up having to retire, and that broke my heart. I don't know if I explicitly said it last time, but Edge is like pretty much my favorite wrestler, like of all time.
Of all time, huh?
Yeah. And so seeing him come out of nowhere in 2010, come in and take the Rumble the way he did, getting rid of Batista, John Cena, I was just like, that's my top Rumble moment. Like, even thinking about it, like, I'm marking out right now. I love it.
Right. It's definitely a good one.
What about you? What's your favorite Rumble moment?
Well, you said you had another one earlier. So go ahead and tell what was your other one?
Yeah, so I actually have 4 favorite Rumble moments.
Okay, top 2
that are always going to stick out to me. So the first one, Edge coming back in the 2010 Rumble to win it all.
Mm-hmm.
The second place favorite Rumble moment, Edge coming back in 2020.
Oh God.
The look on his face, like the way, okay, so like I knew, like everyone was like, oh yeah, he's gonna be. It's like a poorly kept secret.
Right.
But again, you don't know until you know. And when his music popped, and I lost my shit, Anya. I'm telling you,
absolutely. Like I was watching it with a couple of friends, and one of them had said that he was on Twitter the night before saying that he was out getting pizza with his kids in North Carolina. And I just looked over at my friend Tim and I'm like, yeah, because that's all he's doing. Like we knew. But then to see him actually come out, and like you said, the expression in his eyes, you could just see it all. And if you didn't get excited, you are not a fan of that era. You're just soulless.
So all day at work, I've been watching reaction videos to his return. I kept watching his actual return, like on the network. I was rewinding, watching it. I mean, there's more to talk about. We'll talk about with the actual Rumble, but when he, just that look, the emotion on his face, and where he like cleared his head and got in character, I was, those are my 2 favorite
what it
Rumble
meant to him, and it was amazing, definitely.
So I won't go too much into my other 2 because you only have 2. But real quickly, third place was Drew McIntyre claymoring Roman Reigns in the face to win the Rumble yesterday, and then AJ Styles' debut in 2016, top 4 Rumble moments of all time. All right, Anya. So we know my 4 favorite Rumble moments. What are your favorite Royal Rumble moments?
All right. So I'll give you my top 2. The second to favorite is definitely 2008, Roddy Piper coming back for his return. I went ahead and shared a photo of this on our Instagram because it was 12 years.
Nice.
And it was such a moment for me. As I was talking about it a little bit last night with some friends and talking to you about it as well, you know, Roddy Piper, I just feel so connected to him as a wrestler. And I felt like I knew him on a different level. And I don't typically get like that with celebrities or anything like that. But watching him from since I was little all the way until he passed away, all of his movies, all of his shows. I mean, even watched that, what was it, Legends House, the reality TV show that everybody tried to do. But anyway, so for the Rumble, to see him come back, I mean, it was a bittersweet moment because he wasn't in the best of shape. It wasn't like he was ready for it, but he just still had that fire and that excitement that he has always had and has always made him such an incredible heel. And to see him come back with that, I died a little bit inside. He is definitely one of my favorites. And even though it wasn't a big return, it wasn't anything too crazy, that one really just stuck with me as a favorite that I still, like you said with Edge, you know, you just feel that like in your gut, and it still gets you excited no matter how many times you see it. And that's how I am with that one.
Yeah, when I remember that one, and I remember when he came out, I was like, oh fuck, it's Piper. And then when I was like, oh Jesus, what happened to Piper?
Right.
But you're right. He still had that same fire and intensity when he saw Snuka, and he was like, you motherfucker.
He was ready. All right. So then my absolute favorite, I think this is going to shock you, might shock the world. 2007. Undertaker coming in at number 30. The final four, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Edge, and Randy Orton. That final four, like, there wasn't anything spectacular about the 2007 Royal Rumble. There wasn't anything great, like, that really makes the rest of it stand out. But that final four, the way they just went at each other, and the way Taker was standing there after getting hit in the head with the chair, with blood pouring down his face, just giving it his all. When he did Old School to MVP, and that move just always gets me excited. And then, you know, RKO, they get out, Edge gets out. And you see Shawn Michaels and Undertaker just laying there, both completely out of it. And then Taker all of a sudden just sits up, and Michaels gets up, and then Taker like takes off his straps, and you could just tell it is on right in that moment. They were going to go at it and just lose it on each other. And they did. And it was absolutely amazing to see Taker win. He's only won the once, and it literally just every single time I watch it, I could watch it over and over again. And it just gets me in my heart because I love Taker. I love everything that he is. And it was just such a good moment.
That's such a beastly Final Four, though.
It really is. I mean, and look, even this year, Edge, Randy Orton.
And Randy Orton were part of it. Yep. I was just about to point that out.
What I thought was funny, I was actually rewatching it earlier today, too. And you know how last night Randy Orton was about to turn on Edge, and Edge knew, and he saw him, and he's like, hey, hold up. Edge did the same thing back in 2007 to Randy Orton. He was about to spear him, and right. Randy Orton turned around with the chair, and he's like, wait a minute. So just seeing that kind of like reverse action again, it was a little funny to me. So,
yeah, no, I think those are some really good Rumble moments, not just because they're ours, but because our opinions are better than most other people's. And so those are good Rumble moments, I think.
Absolutely. I loved it.
So if anyone, listening is interested, please comment with your favorite Rumble moments, because we like to see what you guys throw out there. We had a couple people send us their Rushmore ideas, and while we didn't agree with all of them, they're still valid option or valid opinion. So please share with us, because I just love that about this community. Just the endless chances for talking about different scenarios and situations, and there's no definitive right answer except for ours.
I mean,
right.
I'm glad we're on the same page with that. I was about to tell you.
So let's now talk about the 2020 Men's Royal Rumble match.
Oh my Lord, this match. The first 20 minutes of it, I was just so angry.
I kept looking at my friend Ryan, who's a big wrestling fan, and we were just like, what the fuck are they doing? We already know
it, but
Brock
why?
is super dominant. We get it. Why are you doing this?
It was such and it was funny because same with the people I was watching with, we're all sitting there like, this is bullshit. What are you guys doing? Why is this happening? And we keep seeing all these great people being thrown in. And I mean, Kofi just being tossed out, Big E being tossed out, all of them. And we're
John
just
Morrison.
what? Yeah, right. Oh my God. It was like, why would you throw him in for 2 seconds and then just take him right out? And we didn't get it. And then one of my friends and then my brother was with us, and they were both like, Keith Lee, come on, get Keith Lee out here. He's the one that's going to do it. And so finally, when Keith Lee comes out and you see Brock's face, he's just like, who is this? And he even mouthed, he said, who is this motherfucker?
And when Keith Lee was coming up to him, he was like, big boy, Brock Lesnar, was impressed with the size.
At that point, yeah, he was impressed, but he was also sitting here laughing. I mean, you saw Brock dancing by that point.
Jesus,
I don't think I've ever seen him so happy in my life.
And so now that the Rumble's over and we saw what happened, I'm okay with what they did in the beginning, because
absolutely
it's a brand new. They've never done it before. So it was sort of groundbreaking in its own right.
I mean, kind of, but back in, what was it, 97, Steve Austin, like, was doing the same kind of stuff, just taking people out as they came. And during parts of it, he would just be sitting up on the turnbuckle, like, looking at his wrists, faking like he was looking at the time. Like, so, I mean, it was original in the sense that they started it from the very beginning, number one.
Right. That's what I mean. It was the champion who elected to come out as number one, and then just throughout the first 13 opponents, like,
right. So he didn't break any record, but he did tie.
Yes.
With Braun Strowman from World's Greatest.
And I'm glad he didn't break anything record-wise. But yeah, like,
he deserves that.
When Braun and Keith Lee were in there with Brock Lesnar, I was like, that is a lot of fucking person in that ring right now.
Oh, I know, man. Just seeing all the moves being done and just seeing them just manhandle each other. I was just like, what in the world? Like,
and when Brock eliminated both of them at the same time, like, I was mad because I still wasn't sure what they were doing. Right. But it made sense that he would get rid of them together like that because it's the best way for him to proceed. And
then Drew comes out.
Well, Ricochet came out first.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, you're not going to do this to Ricochet too, are you? And Ricochet was the start of the downfall for Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I got distracted with caring so little about Ricochet and caring so much about Drew McIntyre,
you
man.
You don't like Ricochet?
It's not that I don't like him, but it's Drew McIntyre.
Okay, I'll concede that point. I'll give you that.
I absolutely love Drew McIntyre. I think he's fantastic in the ring. He's got a great character essence, and I feel like he deserves this chance so much more than anybody else in that Royal Rumble did.
I swear to God, if they have Brock squash him at WrestleMania, I will rebel so hard.
Yeah,
But no, the moment Ricochet hit Lesnar with a low blow and then he ate the Claymore out of the ring.
Right.
Oh, I lost my shit. I was like, this is great. This is now, and then it became a Royal Rumble again.
Right.
Well, after Drew like completely launched Ricochet like he was nothing.
Exactly. The mere like strength of that man is absolutely insane to me. The other one I got like really upset by though with Brock when he came out with Cesaro. I was sitting there hoping so hard that we would be able to see him swinging Brock Lesnar around the ring. Like, just give it to us. Just give us that one little thing. No.
I thought that would have been a good matchup anyways because Cesaro is so strong and technically proficient. That would have been interesting, but they throw him out because he's a kind of a jobber at this point.
Right. He's kind of losing his he went up against somebody in NXT, right? Recently? They were talking about it on Worlds Collide, and I didn't see that, but I thought that was interesting that they would use him on that.
Yeah, they're starting to have more people kind of go back and forth to NXT, which I like. It lends some credence to NXT.
See, I don't know that I like it necessarily, but I understand it because at this point, one of the things I really loved about Worlds Collide was seeing Balor and with that fire that he had back when he was in NXT originally. Like, once he hit Raw and once he got injured, he just lost the momentum, which I get happens, but he just didn't seem as excited to be there, honestly. And seeing him back in the NXT ring that night, I was just like, that is what we've been waiting for. Like, that
we got Balor back.
That we know.
Yeah, so I think we got him back.
Yeah, definitely. I think going back to NXT it's not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing just because the way it looks is that you're going down in rank. But in all reality, NXT is outshining WWE so much recently that I wouldn't say it's a downstep. And I think there's something like we just have to acknowledge that it's not.
Yeah, no, NXT has been consistently outperforming the main roster, with the exception of this Royal Rumble. They're continuously outperforming them. Like it's
Yeah.
like the small shows, the big shows, it doesn't seem to matter. NXT is just firing on all cylinders. And speaking of NXT, I was a little bit disappointed we didn't get some more NXT people in the Rumble, but it makes sense with the story that they told through the first half of the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, you had Lesnar throw out 13 people in a row. That's with him being 14, like that's literally like half the Rumble participants right there.
Exactly. And
So
the other thing with that, though, is also, they're looking to build NXT as a brand. And one of the things, I mean, you hear it all the time that Brock doesn't put people over and stuff, but he put over quite a few people last night just by being in the ring with them. I mean, Keith Lee was already on his way up. I mean, he just won the title and
right.
he's incredible in the ring. So he didn't need it, but it just gave him that extra, that I can't think of the word right now at all.
Don't get me wrong.
Justification.
I bask in his glory continuously. I think that dude's amazing.
You know,
Keith Lee.
yeah, he's really good from what I've seen of him. I haven't been watching all of the time, so I can't I hadn't seen too much of him previously. Now I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta go back and watch some of his stuff because my brother loves him. All of the people I know through like the different wrestling groups I'm a part of love him. So, and after seeing him last night, I'm like, I get it.
You should watch last week's episode of NXT where he won the belt from Roderick Strong.
Yeah, that's actually specifically what I wanted to go back and watch. I just haven't had time. So
Roderick Strong has the charisma of a plank of wood, but he's really good in the ring. Again, I just don't care when he wrestles because he's so boring to me. But that match with Keith Lee was really strong, and you got to see a lot from Keith Lee.
Yeah.
I was a little bit bummed we didn't see Adam Cole come out. I just love when the crowd pops for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think Adam Cole he's like so amazing right now. He's probably one of the hottest things in wrestling right now at the moment. And
I get why you say that, and I agree in a sense, but I feel like he's kind of falling down on the totem pole.
Don't get me wrong, he's kind of reached that point where he's about to lose the control of NXT, and it may be to get him into the main roster, it may be to just have fresh faces in NXT. But right now, I'd still say he's one of the hottest commodities in wrestling. The way that he works a crowd. But I would have loved to have seen Walter come out from NXT UK and face off against Lesnar.
You're not the only one that said that, actually. My friend Tim was saying just that. And when you both were talking about him, I remember even saying to you, Walter who? Because I had no idea what you were talking about, because I just didn't think about him. He wasn't in the forefront of my mind. And then when I realized who you were talking about, I was like, oh, makes sense now.
Have you seen him wrestle? I know he's on NXT UK, so he doesn't get as much viewership as the other people, but he's really fucking good.
He is a beast. So I guess what would you say was, I mean, I can't even ask, what would be your favorite part of the Men's Royal Rumble? Obviously, it was Edge's comeback. I mean, him coming back, my thing was, I was really excited and I wanted him to come back, but I did not want him to win because we've had so many wrestlers, just working their asses off. And for him to come in as his comeback and take it over, it just seemed like a little much and kind of a slap in the face to those that have been in the ring and doing what they can to get this chance.
Yeah, no. I'm glad he didn't win either because I don't want him to wrestle on a regular basis right now. If this was
you were saying with Daniel Bryan, I mean, I'm excited to have Edge back, but at the same time, I'm like, everything you do, I'm going to be watching as if you're about to die. And I don't want to see that.
Right. And so if they were to tell me that this was a one and done for Edge, I'd be okay with that. I'm glad he didn't win. But I like that he was in the final four. That's just me being a massive Edge head. Mm-hmm. First of all, the dude's 46, 47 years old, and he looks phenomenal. He was so shredded.
We were saying he looked like a old man Logan.
Yeah, I can see that.
But
No,
it looked good.
I will say that there was a sad moment for me with Edge's return. AJ Styles is probably my current favorite like performing superstar.
Right.
I think we've talked about this before. He's just, I just that guy can do anything and everything, and he does it so well.
Exactly.
And when he got the spear, he did the oversell where he flips over and stuff.
Right. And isn't that where he got injured?
He landed on his shoulder and separated
Mhm.
it, and now he may potentially miss WrestleMania.
Yeah, which actually, I mean, it sucks, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, where would he have been at in WrestleMania? Like, who would he have been going against? Like,
Fuck anybody.
yeah, but I mean, with WrestleMania, it needs to be like top notch. And
Don't
I
you
guess
dare say
there
it's
should be a,
okay.
oh, no,
Don't
no,
you
no, no,
dare
no.
say it's okay that AJ is hurt.
No, I love AJ, but I just don't really, I haven't seen him like in any like major feud or anything going on that's like really WrestleMania worthy. I mean, we're 70 days out.
69 now.
Well, yes.
Nice.
Typical. So yeah, I mean, overall, great Rumble. I think one of the, like I said, there are moments with the Rumble that are meant to be really funny. In all of the Rumbles in the past, you have just like those random comebacks that are really funny, or just random guests, or just little moments. And I think for me, one of the most hilarious moments was after Seth came out with his little posse, and then they left, and he's standing in the middle of the ring, and he's reaching out to Roman Reigns, and it was just so funny because all of us at this house, like watching this, we're sitting there, we're calling it, and they're all just like, "Hold out your hand, Seth. Hold out your
Oh,
fist."
so was I. Like I was holding out my hand. I was like, do it. Offer the fist bump. And what made it even greater is it happened right after he curb stomped Roman Reigns. Like he curb
Mm-hmm.
stomped him, and then he's like, "Come on, you and me, we're brothers."
Right? We're buddies. Remember everything we've been through?
That was a great moment.
I think that would probably be the one moment where I was like, okay, Roman, I'm on your side for this one.
And yeah, man, I was so mad when Roman threw Edge out. Like again, I didn't want Edge to win, or I didn't think he deserved to. Obviously, if he won, I would have been ecstatic because I love Edge. But
Right.
he definitely, it's not in the cards for him right now, and I'm okay with that.
Exactly.
I was just mad that Roman did it because fuck Roman.
Exactly. That's the one thing I'm like, you don't deserve to throw Edge out. Randy Orton, I totally would have been fine with that.
Yeah.
That would have actually made sense. Roman Reigns does not deserve half of the things that he's gotten.
I would have been okay if Drew McIntyre threw out Edge because I feel like that's a worthy, wrestler right now. And so as soon as Drew McIntyre was like turning around, I was like, fuck, he's going to eat this spear. And then we're going to have Romania again.
Yeah, we were all like on the edge of our seats at that last bit because it was like, are they going to do what we know they probably want to do, what Vince wants them to do? Or are they actually going to give it to the fans? And I guess I was reading a few things about in the last week, there were changes to what was supposed to happen and the story and the script and everything.
All right, so we had some interesting technical difficulties there. So before the weird break, Anya, you were telling us that you and your friends were on the edge of your seat watching Roman Reigns about to steal the thunder from Drew McIntyre.
Oh, that thunder. Oh, man. We were all just waiting because honestly, like we've talked about before, Vince is going to do what Vince is going to do. Roman Reigns is his guy still to this day, and we were just waiting for him to go ahead and take this moment from Drew. The fact that they didn't do this, Drew won. I think that was the most unbelievable thing it wasn't that Drew won. Obviously, he can take them and he deserves it and all of that. I think the thing that was most shocking was the fact that they didn't do what WWE always does. And it was such a huge change and just like, oh my goodness, this right here is why I am still a fan. This is what brings me back in every single time. Now we just have to hope that they don't squash that at WrestleMania.
Without a doubt. Now, guys, we want to thank you so much for joining us for our Royal Rumble 2020 discussion here. I've had a blast. I don't know about you, Anya.
I mean, I could have had a better host or co-host, but I do with what I've got, guys. If anybody wants to apply, I mean, we might be looking for a third. That sounded wrong.
Me in the ring, though. You have to face me in the ring, though. No, you're right. We're definitely looking for a third because I just need more to work with. You know what I mean?
I mean, you're acting like you're all that, and I'm pretty sure you're the one failing. We can put up a poll and see who people want to listen to more.
I actually don't want to do that poll because I'd be really crushed by the results, I'm sure. Because, look, trust me, I look like I would have a wrestling podcast. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
I get it. No, I get it.
And I look like I should be in the ring with Alexa Bliss. So,
okay, let's not get too out of control here.
Alrighty. Well, we're going to wrap this up here. Definitely leave us some comments and let us know what you thought about this Royal Rumble. If you agree with us, disagree, tell us some of your favorite parts, favorite matches, all of it. We want to hear from you guys. And one of the things that we mentioned earlier, we really enjoy the interaction. So be sure to check us out on Instagram. We're posting our podcast on Spotify and Podbean. And then we also have our Facebook page.
And I believe we're going to get a Twitter soon. Get that going. Tweet out with the rest of the wrestling stars. Not the wrestling stars, but interact with them. And for the record, anyone who wants to get into a comment war, I feel like this Royal Rumble that we had on Sunday, definitely top 3 Royal Rumbles of all time. Definitely best of like the last 9-10 years.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I actually really wish I didn't. But I can't argue with that. It has definitely been one of the best events that they've thrown out. Not even just Royal Rumbles. Honestly, I felt that was definitely one of the top pay-per-view events in at least, the past like 10 years or so. Definitely. So.
And then please join us next week because we are going to do our fantasy mock-up of what we think WrestleMania is going to look like this year. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
This is the first time I'm hearing about it, guys, so be ready.
Heard it right here on Top Rope Talk. Talk forever, guys.
I still don't know what to end things with, so I just didn't end.